Hey everyone, welcome back to Bogey Proof. We got another episode here with Joey, Matt, and Mike. Excited to dive into last weekend's golf. We had a couple awesome tournaments, both on the men's and women's side. Matt, where are you coming from, and what are you sipping on?
Back in Connecticut, just got home from Boston for the weekend with the Sox game last night. Sipping on a little iced coffee. Actually need a little energy. Gotta catch up on some work later tonight. So a little iced coffee going. Joey, how about yourself?
No Bailey's in that iced coffee at least? Come on, Fontaine. You're
No, it
better
was
than that.
kind of, ended up drinking on a Monday being at the Sox game. So gotta, you know, tone it down
Um,
the rest of the week.
yeah, I understand. Still in New Hampshire, boys. I don't know if you've seen or tried these Arizona Sunrise seltzers. I was hoping they tasted more like, those good old classic Arizona iced teas you get for $1, but like they just don't taste anything like that. I was actually very highly disappointed in all four flavors. So not really one I recommend to you guys. So cracking this case down, drink by drink, looking to move on to the next one. What
Where
about
do
you,
you
Michael?
find those?
I've never even heard of that, and that is a tough marketing ploy for being
Well,
such a similar name and such a terrible drink.
well,
So,
I'm assuming they're associated with Arizona. Like it has the like the cool. It's Arizona. There's only one Arizona brand, right? But I remember seeing an ad like on Twitter before they came out, and I was very excited for them. And then
mhm.
I happened to see them when I was home in a Price Chopper or Market 32, whatever the fuck they changed it to. And then I was gonna buy it before I left for New Hampshire, but I didn't. And then good old Hannaford had it here, so picked it up and gave him a shot. And disappointed, to say the least, but it is what it is. We learn from our mistakes. Michael,
Very true. I have made a little makeshift cocktail here. So I went with a grapefruit spindrift and threw a little Four Roses small batch bourbon in there. So honestly, a bourbon cocktail with a little grapefruit juice and like a grapefruit wedge is like definitely a go-to at like if I'm going to some fancy place, especially during the winter for a good winter cocktail. So kind of made my own here. Drank a little bit of it, topped off with a little bit of that Woodford Reserve, or sorry, I think it's actually it's Four Roses small batch. I was drinking Woodford Reserve in Massachusetts. Didn't even look at the label at this point. A lot of bourbons, they come together in my brain. So sipping on this a little bit and enjoying a little Tuesday of work and ready to chat a little bit of golf. My first thing that comes to mind here when I think of the weekend of golf was that scene on Saturday afternoon at Memorial on 18. That I'm going to call it the COVID WD here from John Rahm, but kind of Matt, what was kind of your reaction to that? Did you watch it live? Did you see kind of highlights of it? Kind of what was your initial response when you saw what happened?
I did not see it live, but I was watching golf a majority of the day. And he tore it up on Saturday because they had to finish round two in the morning. He made like an ace or something like that, and then went out and shot 8 under 64 in his Saturday round, right? And then the whole scene, like telling him on 18 felt a little off. Like let him get to the scorers table. I don't know, like why are you doing it in front of the whole world that kind of puts him in a tough spot to be able to react. I mean, like, what's he supposed to do with that information? Especially like he's hasn't even signed his scorecard for 64 to take a 6-shot lead, playing with the guys he's fighting off, whatever you want to call it. And it's like felt a little weird. Obviously, awful go. I mean, basically lost out on 1.7, right? Like John Rahm's not going to blow a 6-shot lead, especially at a place that he's won before, right? I mean, just felt like he was playing so well. It was kind of his to lose on Sunday, which, you wouldn't expect from the type of player he is. He's been there before. I just, the only thing I had that obviously I felt bad for Rahm and, it's 99% of the takes out there, but there's a little nugget, and I don't know, like, the exact facts or circumstances of it, but it's like all the pros have been able to get vaccinated if they wanted to months ago or like over the last few months. They have the right to get vaccinated, and if you're vaccinated, you don't have to get tested anymore. Like you're good to go, like whatever it is. So like he kind of had an opportunity to just like take care of this, and not be open for this to even be a possibility. And then obviously it's super unfortunate like that he got it and ends up, losing out on all this stuff. That stinks, but like it could have been avoided, not that that's like where I land, but like I think overall, like that's not the stance I'm taking, but like that was an option. Like he could have gotten vaccinated 2 months ago, and then you don't have to get tested anymore. You don't have to whatever. Like you're just good to go from the PGA Tour standards perspective. And again, I don't like have the rules in front of me. That's like what I saw like as a thread somewhere on Twitter, I think. So as unfortunate as it is, and like I still don't think you tell him right on 18. Like tell him in the scores 10. Tell him afterwards, whatever it is, or even in between his rounds, right? Because he tested positive in the morning, and then when it finished round 2, then they reshuffle and go back out. Like there had to be somewhere along the way they could have told him, not right after you like on the green basically of 18. That was kind of my only thing I had. Those are the kind of points I had outside of just the overall obvious like that sucks. You just lost out on 1.7, and the FedEx Cup points, the world ranking points, like all that other stuff that goes along with it too. But I don't know. What do you guys have for thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, you said it well. I didn't unfortunately really get to watch any of the tournament, but I obviously did see that. And yeah, I agree. It's just weird that they would go out on, like right after the 18th green and do that. But you made a good point. Like it's essentially kind of on him because like from what I heard, he chose not to be vaccinated. Like, and I don't really give a shit, right? Do what you want, do what you don't want. But yeah, I mean, the more you think about it, that is kind of on him. So it stinks. I feel bad for him. Don't get me wrong. So, Mike, I mean, and I do want to, I do want to just ask you, like, how different did the course play this year for the players? Like, was there any feedback on that? So I was curious to see, like, if they said or thought of anything.
Yeah, I didn't. And to close the loop on the Rahm piece, I agree with both of you guys. I think definitely something that couldn't have been avoided if Rahm wanted to get vaccinated, but I think it's kind of no one's place to make a determination over that. And if you determine that that's what you want to do, then you deal with the circumstances and the consequences that come with having to get tested. And you deal with the consequences of possibly missing out on a tournament because that's the case. Sucks that it happened on a Saturday afternoon after you've locked up the tournament, but it could have happened on Monday morning or Tuesday morning or whatever. So, just adds to the drama of what the PGA Tour is and what competitive golf on that landscape is. But they chatted a lot about the restoration, I think, early in the week. I honestly, I was struggling with the commentary on Saturday. I honestly put it on mute and just watched the golf for a while. And sometimes I do that just because Dottie Pepper gets on my nerves.
Sometimes they just don't let it breathe. Like they just
I was trying to
talk about everything. I'm just like, shut up, just show the next shot.
Especially with how good Rahm was playing in that back nine. I honestly just kind of put it on mute and like semi dozed off and honestly just laid on the couch and watched it and
enjoyed the golf shots.
Yes. So that was, I think they talked about it. I think really what kind of the main point they made was ones that they didn't change. I think Jack got on there and defended some things about, not making any changes to the par 3 12th and really kind of the ones that he felt were really quality and kind of could stand the test of time, kind of like highlighting those holes and really showing, when they did make change that they did it in a nuanced way. And I don't think it played a whole lot different. I think if we had a tournament that was 4 or 5 under, then we might have had a little bit different conversation, but obviously we got a little bit of weather on Thursday that led to some softer conditions and some good scores. But for the most part, it seemed like they softened the course in certain areas, a lot of, greens that were really, really severe before, softening up some of those greens and allowing for other pin positions. So I think over time we'll get a true understanding of kind of the change of the golf course when when they try new pin positions over the course of the years and kind of see how it plays. I did like some of the pins on Saturday and then again on Sunday. I thought couple like tough pins like 17 on Sunday, kind of tucking it behind that right pin, that right bunker. And And then like that pin on 18, like being pretty close to the edge there where, where the ball usually fell on kind of a right to left slope and then a left pin. It's like, damn, like we're going to go after this pin all day long. Right. But having the mistake of some high rough on the left side and, obviously some of the guys got up and down, but a guy like Scheffler, right, hit in the left side and didn't get it up and down, and misses out, from a playoff. So I think I liked how it played. I think over time we'll learn a little bit more about truly what the changes mean and how it affects, the way they play. They're so freaking good. It's tough to tell sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just like they don't, something that was a nuanced change probably doesn't affect them that much because they just fire it at the pin or, maybe aim 5 feet further away from a pin than they did before to respect it. But they're just so
like
good.
A different tee shot, right? That it doesn't matter for them. They end up in the fairway anyways, where, like instead of in the past being, laying up, now they got hit a driver there, but like it doesn't make a difference, or you don't even see it on TV or something like that. I think the other thing too, like I said, it's going to take a while for us to see how truly different it plays, but like the highlights all look the same still, right? I mean, you see them having to hit the major flop shots because they get that rough so long, and it's rough and green there more often than most courses where like there's no fringe in between where they're landing it, so they got to take these big flop swings, and you see them hit it 2 feet in front of them and then make them, and like stuff like that you're kind of used to seeing at Memorial. Specifically on the Tiger highlights you always see, right? That flop shot he hit when he won back in 2012 or 13, or the one where like even when he was younger, he whiffs it, hits in the rough, and then makes it. Like that kind of stuff you still saw. I saw Rory do it, Morikawa did it. Stuff like that. That's Memorial. When you think of Memorial, that's the stuff you think of. So I think all in all, yes, there's some changes, but did it drastically change anything? Like not really. And again, maybe that's because of all the rain they got on Thursday and Friday morning, or it's something I forget what the timing of it was, but all the weather they got could have played a role in that. So we'll see, over the next few years if some other nuanced changes kind of rear their head in different conditions.
Yeah, for sure. I think it lended itself to some good drama. Obviously, the drama of Rahm was outside of what the golf course could produce, but Cantlay and Morikawa, Cantlay being a champion, a former champion of Memorial, and then, Morikawa winning the Workday in the previous year. So they've both won on this golf course before. So, probably hasn't changed that much if we have, former winners that are getting it done and battling it out on a Sunday afternoon. But I just was unbelievably impressed. I think they hit the ball so good. Cantley's sneaky long. Like he just hits the ball, he hits it hard, and he doesn't spin it, and it just comes off and it flies. And then Morikawa just like builds the wall on the left side of the golf course and just like hits 5-yard fades all day long. It's just so much fun to watch. And I would say for amateurs out there, I know I'm not saying you guys have the ability of Colin Morikawa, but watch his swing in slow motion because he creates so much speed without swinging that hard, and he has such a consistent move. I think people could learn something from how he kind of works his way around the golf course. And then kind of unexpectedly from two of the what I would consider not the greatest putters, really some clutch putting down the stretch. When Morikawa struggled around the greens a little bit, he made like 15 foot sliders, like and just like dripping them in the front edge. And then Cantlay, obviously a great putt on 17. So yeah, I thought that was a lot of fun just to watch them, really find their way and find a way to get the ball in the hole, when their games weren't absolutely perfect. But Fontaine, do you kind of have any other comments about that Cantlay Morikawa matchup? I think it's something that's going to stay for a while.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, both just struck the shit out of the ball this weekend. Cantlay a little confusing for me this year. The overall product hasn't been his best. It's usually a little bit more consistent than this, and especially in the majors, he's been a little bit disappointing compared to kind of his previous performances. But like I said, the clutch putting is nice to see. Morikawa's in that honeymoon phase again. Seems like every time he switches putters, switches grips, he's right back in the mix. He's got some demons with the putter. I think he's just going to be one of those guys that you see a new putter every couple of years and, rides the hot streak while he can. And then eventually the old tendencies come back into that one and reset again. But he hits it so well, he can get away with that, and he's still going to win, plenty of times. It's good to see him, back contending again. He kind of came out strong this year, lulled in the middle, all around the top 10 as always, but back in that final pairing again. But I mean, these are two guys that I think we're going to see in the Ryder Cup. As inconsistent as Cantlay's been this year, no more Morikawa's in. I don't know Cantlay if he's still.
He's right on the line. He's like in
this
that.
Win probably gets him inside with the points, but plenty of golf to be played until the Ryder Cup. But they're both guys that, if you're a U.S. fan, like you want more guys of this nature versus the Brooks, DJ, Bryson nature, right? Because at the end of the day, our Ryder Cup record's not great as Team USA the last, 15 of them, whatever it may be. But it's because we always have the bomb and gouge guys and not great putters or whatever it is. And you need guys, especially when you get those alternate shot, those weird formats, you got to have guys that help you more than hurt you out there and like make your life easier than making it more difficult. Obviously, they're all the best players in the world. They have the potential to go lights out, but you need a guy that their average day, they're still hitting a shit ton of fairways, hitting greens and whatever, and making your life as their partner a lot easier. So whether they get paired together or they're just kind of spread out to go with a Brooks and a Bryson or a DJ, guys that are a little more longer hitters with a little less control to be able to, give them a change up in that alternate shot format where, they'll have more Kyle hit the tee shot because you can hit that 10-yard cut into any fairway in the world, then have DJ hit a wedge in or, stuff like that where they can mix and match and things like that. But I don't know, Joe, you got any other thoughts on these two and, potential Ryder Cup stuff? I mean, we could also get into guys like Scheffler, Reed, guys like that are and even Brendan Grace, although he's not, U.S. Ryder Cup guy, he's a President's Cup guy for the other side, but
kind of rounding into form though.
Yeah, like guys like that are all of a sudden, you haven't been a really slow year. They especially Scheffler and Reed played really well at the beginning of the year and then really fell off or maybe just kind of lulled back in that T30 range as opposed to being up and contending, that are now right back in the mix, back in form, coming up to Torrey and then, FedEx Cup playoffs, all that fun stuff too.
No, yeah. I ain't got much else. All I thought, I hope I get to play that course one day just so I can have some milkshakes. That's all. I just want that on the record.
Love the milkshakes.
And if you want to add a little booze, check out our Instagram, friend of the program, TJ, getting it done for us in the kitchen, mixing up a couple mudslides. So that was a lot of fun. I was not overly involved in the preparation of that Instagram post. So when I saw that one come through, that
threw me in for a curveball. I love
it. That was pretty fucking awesome.
Dude, I love the best part about that too is his, 2 shots of this, 1 shot of that. That was a double, if not a triple shot class he was using. So it's like, he's like 2 shots. It was really like 4, maybe 5 shots of vodka. Like it was so like that shot class looked like it was 4 inches tall that he was using to pour those shots. But get the friend of the program in, mix up the face so they're not just seeing me in my kitchen finger stirring and making up these cocktails. Can't really do that with the mudslides, so had to get a friend of the program involved. But to caveat that, check us out on Instagram. We got that kind of stuff. YouTube channel is getting a ton of content going with the Gambling Lab. Podcasts all go up there in video form as well. Some swing videos, whatever it may be. TikTok is officially buzzing. We have that up and running now, so follow us on TikTok at bogey.proof, as well as Twitter, Bogey Proof tweets or bogey.proof. And what else we got? And then podcast is obviously Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever else you listen to your podcast. Make sure you follow something a little different in each realm, but all the same good stuff coming from Bogey Proof. Lots of content these days. Yeah, for sure. We got a bunch of fun stuff on the radar, and obviously with the U.S. Open coming up, I think we got some even more exciting opportunities to chat gambling, chat some value picks. As we kind of chat about guys like, Patrick Reed, who got it done at Torrey earlier this year. Brandon Grace qualified at sectionals down in Florida. So a guy that showed some form, doesn't bitch about not having the exemption, goes down, gets it done. Like those are the kind of guys that, I want on my daily fantasy teams and kind of in some value picks later down the line. So
Let's also quick shout out Jimmy Walker, T16. A lot of Jimmy Walker slander on the podcast the last month or so.
I know he's kind of been shoving it. He's been playing low key solid since.
I shot 65 on Sunday. So
since like the PGA though, he's been back in the top 20 range. He was like an automatic miscut for the last 4 years. And all of a sudden he's playing some decent golf. Also, and you mentioned the qualifiers, Ricky Fowler, T11 this week after a T8 the week before and a T7 at the PGA. Low key playing some decent golf. He actually went to that Monday qualifier as well. I don't know if it's the same one as Brendan Grace, but he went to qualify as well, went 72-66 and missed out by a shot. He was in a 12-for-1 playoff, and some dude holed out for eagle from the fairway to win that playoff at 600. So he ends up missing out on going back to the U.S. Open by one shot, and I think it's the first one he's missing in like 11 years. So as much as he's rounding into form, still not back in the tournaments I'm sure he'd love to be a part of. But
yeah, good to see that. And I know you mentioned the U.S. Open there at Torrey coming up here shortly. We had the U.S. Women's Open this last week, Olympic Club in San Francisco. I thought the golf course looked pure. I think Olympic is just so cool. The fact that we have such an old design that's kind of stood the test of time and really isn't that long. I know Matt and I chatted quite a bit about the length question, last week on the podcast as far as how far the girls were playing it. But I just thought it played really fair, but it also played really difficult. I saw more pitch outs at the U.S. Women's Open than I've seen on the PGA Tour all year long. So I thought that was a lot of fun, where you see someone get out of position and really the question is, okay, it's not a question of, hey, can I run this up on the green, or where is the best place to get it up and down from around the greens. It's, hey, I got to wedge this thing out. What number do I want? What angle do I want for my full wedge? If it's not going to be a full wedge, can I get an angle where I can chase something up or spin something or hit a flop shot? So I really thought we saw a unique game and a unique type of golf that we don't see on a weekly basis on the PGA Tour, even on the LPGA Tour, because they were battling out there for pars when sometimes it's a little bit of a shootout. But and I'm gonna mess up these two names here, but we had Yuka Sosa and beat Nasa Hatoka in a playoff 4 under 280. And the winner here, 19-year-old from the Philippines. What's really cool too is that she is tied for the youngest winner in U.S. Women's Open history to the day to Inbee Park. They were the exact same to the day, the exact same
hours.
We need hours, is right. So we, to the day, Inbee Park, and Yuka got it done. So that was really cool. First major winner from the Philippines. And just her interview afterwards was just so candid when they told her that she had a 5-year exemption onto the LPGA Tour, and she's not a member of the LPGA Tour. That was really cool. Getting to kind of live her dream and do that because she was able to win the U.S. Women's Open. I thought it was kind of a fun little tidbit, and I wanted to bring it up, so I put it here on the agenda, guys. She was a semifinalist in the 2019 U.S. Junior. That wasn't that long ago. That was less than 2 years ago. So we had someone who was playing in the U.S. Junior less than 2 years ago win a U.S. Open.
Insane.
That is insane to fathom, and something that I don't know if we'll ever see on the PGA Tour. Right? We're probably not going to see a 19 or 20-year-old win the U.S. Open anytime soon. Charlie Woods. True. If he catches a heater, you never know. He might win the U.S. Junior, the USAM, and the U.S. Open the same year. But I just thought that was pretty cool, and just kind of something that the women's game brings to us that you just are not going to see in the men's game. Fontaine, fill us in on kind of what happened to Lexi Thompson out there on the last 10 holes, and by far her best opportunity to win another major here, and win a U.S. Open, which would have been her it was her 15th time playing in the U.S. Open, and she's 26. So
yeah, that's
listen.
And you kind of hit on it with, Yuka, who ended up getting it done, but it's kind of LPGA Tour gives some really cool, like, you get some wild stats out of the LPGA Tour with how young some of these girls are. Like, Yuka's the youngest U.S. Open winner at 19 and however many months, days, whatever. She's like the 4th youngest to win a major, and like Lydia Ko won twice before she was 19. Like, there's just some crazy stats you get on the LPGA Tour. And before I get into Lexi, the golf course, I just found it fascinating watching it, and like it wasn't overly long by the numbers that they were playing. Like they honestly didn't even have to hit too many drivers, but it was just so tight and demanding. Like I said, they're pitching out if they miss a fairway, and the elevation changes were so cool. Like, it looked awesome on TV. Like, they had that short par 3, it's like 150 yards, but it's straight up the hill, and then the par 5s on the way in are straight up the hill approach shots. 18 straight up the hill, 17 or 16, I forget which one of those par 5s. The fairway is like like totally sideways, where if you don't land it on the left edge, it rolls out in the right rough, and then you got to lay up and all this stuff. So it was really cool. The golf course, like I said, stood the test of time. It played different for the ladies, obviously, versus the men, but like still challenged them, but was fair. If you were able to hit fairways, it wasn't like killing you with the distance and all that fun stuff. I really enjoyed watching. It was a really cool course that honestly I haven't seen. I don't really remember much from Webb Simpson win, 9 years ago. So it was nice to kind of see that again. But Lexi, I mean, yeah, she just honestly, it really just went into defense mode. I think she made a double on 11, I want to say. She came out firing fairway and hit a 5-iron, which is first hole par 5, to like 12 feet for eagle, and had the easiest birdie of her life to start the day and kind of extend her lead. I think she started the day with like a 3 or 4 shot lead. Played relatively solid the whole front 9. I didn't watch it, but I mean, made like 8 pars or 7 pars. So can't really do that on a US Open course without playing pretty solid. And then on the back, she just got tentative, it looked like, because even on, she made a bogey on 14, which it looked like she was picking the wrong number the whole time on the back 9. Like, I don't know Lexi's stock yardages. I don't watch her play a ton of like whole rounds, like, getting that shot by shot view like we do when she's in the leader of the US Open. But like on 16, which is her par 5, whatever. She had 109 yards up the hill from the fairway, like up the hill, like severe, like we're talking about, right? There's a lot of slope here. 109 yards up the hill to a front pin and hit a gap wedge. It's like, how is your caddy? Like, I don't know. Maybe she hits a gap wedge 120 yards. That seems aggressive for me. Like, I know she hits it pretty far for the LPGA Tour, but 120-yard gap wedge up the hill on an upslope where the ball is just going to shoot straight in the air. Like, that just feels like, it just doesn't feel like the right club to me. Like, I feel like you take the pitching wedge, and if you're in the middle of the green and you don't get the number perfect, who cares? You're putting. You had a 2-shot lead, 3-shot lead at that point. The gap wedge, all that did was make her have to now chip the ball, which then she chipped it to 5 feet and had one of the worst putts I've ever seen. Didn't even reach the hole from 5 feet. She did that 3 holes in a row on 16, 17, 18 to not get it done. One of them was for birdie that, could have given her a little bit more cushion, whiffs that one, then does this. And then on the last hole, 143 up the hill again and hits a 9-iron. Like, those just seem like the wrong numbers to me. Again, I don't know her numbers, but those seem like really big hits for those numbers up the hill. Like, if they were downhill, totally different ball game, or even flat, totally different ball game. It's probably the right club. But
it wasn't 80. It wasn't 85 degrees out there either.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it was cold and damp, right? Like, or not cold, but certainly not 100 degrees out there. It's like, I was watching it, and like they show the number she's hitting. I was like, there's no way this gets there. And then she hits it. Looks like a good swing. She didn't look disgusted on contact or whatever. And they're 15 yards short. Like, they're not like just getting on the front edge and spinning off. Like, they're not even close. And it's like, watching that, it's just like, I don't know, as a caddy, like, I know you don't want to, they're being the last 3-4 holes of a major, you don't want to throw off what they're thinking too much, but like, you got to be like, hey, like, that is just, like, trust me, hit the 8, or trust me, hit the pitching wedge, not the gap. And like, you'd rather be putting than have to chip, like, because she kind of struggled with chipping kind of earlier in that round. It's like, make it easy on herself. Don't have to get it up and down. Like, it just seemed like she hit really good shots and didn't take advantage of it. But then down the stretch, she made it harder on herself than I think she needed to. Like on 18, middle of the fairway, she had a really good like 3-iron. And I don't know if this was the 109 or the 143. I think it was the 110, like the gap wedge or whatever. And like the only place you can't put that is the front bunker on that hole. You saw everybody else, the groups before, middle to back of the green and deal with the fast putt coming back towards the front pin. Like all she had to do was make a par on that hole to get in the playoff, even after all the disaster that happened on the back nine. And it's like, how do you put that bunker into play? It's just like she just had the wrong club. Like she didn't like it wasn't like she was chunking shit and whatever. Like she hit the wrong clubs and made herself make 5-footers the last 4 holes and missed all of them. It was just like so hard to watch it go down the way she did. Like I'm sitting on my couch, like hit the 8-iron. Like what are you doing? Like get this on the green and just 2-putt. And it was just like I don't know. Even every time I watched her hit, it was like, wow, she's hitting that club, and then it was 15 yards short every time. I'd love to go back and watch the full day and see if like she was doing that all day or like what I don't know. But it was mind-boggling the club she was hitting. I don't know. I couldn't and like I knew it was happening before it happened. Like I shouldn't know this better than you do. Like you're out there. Like why do I know? Why is this so obvious to me? And like you and your caddy in this event playing as good as you did all week can't get your numbers right. It just is crazy to me. I don't know how much you guys watched of it, but it was hard to watch her just slowly gift it away. But that's what stood out to me is like, this just not, you just know that was the wrong club before she even hit the shot. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster. It was tough.
Well, Fontaine will throw in your formal application for a tour caddy right now. Maybe you can get a major sometime soon.
Get me on the phone for the clubs. I can't do any of the other shit, but like 143 yards dead up the hill is just not a 9-iron. I don't know. Like maybe if you're Dustin Johnson, it's a 9-iron or, but she doesn't hit it. Like she's carrying the driver like 256 out there. So, it's not flying. It's like, I don't know. I was just sitting there like screaming on my couch. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. No, it was definitely tough to watch the last 10 holes and see someone who played so well all week long and definitely one of the more prominent players on the LPGA tour for the last almost 10 years at this point. I was really impressed with the amateur play too. I think we had four amateurs make the cut, so that was a lot of fun. Looking forward, 2022 U.S. Women's Open at Pine Needles, a golf course that I know Matt and I have played quite a few times. Joey, we played Mid Pines right across the street this week, this year.
I was even thinking, like, I'm so stupid. I should have tried to play Pine Needles after you and I played Mid Pines. Like, I only had like a 3 or 4 hour drive to get to Roanoke after that. Like, what was I thinking? Like, I often think about that. I'm very pissed off at myself.
I often think about it.
Either that or even Southern Pines. Like, I should have done something. Like, I was there. But, oh, well, I guess I got to go back to Pinehurst, Donner.
Oh, God damn. Yeah. But looking forward to next year just because it's such a freaking great golf course. And haven't really watched. I know they've had, like a U.S. Senior Women's Open there and a few things. And they've had the U.S. Women's Open there, quite a few times. But I haven't personally watched those events on TV. So I'm excited to watch that on TV and see kind of where some of the places they play from and how they kind of dissect that golf course. I know there's been quite a bit of change the last 3 or 4 years. They've continued to put a lot of work into it and a lot of money. So excited to watch them compete on a golf course that we've played before. And before we finish up, let's just do a little check-in. Let's stop talking, pro golf. Eric's not on the phone here today, but he's grinding on his game. He was playing in a tournament today, played solid, and continues to, when he does have some time off from his crazy work schedule, work on his game. And I think it's been a lot of fun. We've all shown a lot of, quite a bit of progress here this year working on our games and have definitely made it a priority. So fun to see him playing in some tournaments and having some success. Matt, what's the state of your game? You were talking a little bit about the left miss, before we got on here. But what's the state of your game? What do you got coming forward? You playing any fun courses or kind of got any trips lined up here for the next month or so?
Yeah, the game it's close. It's not where I'd like it to be at the moment. A left miss for me is not my usual. So it's a little I don't know, I'm just not used to kind of the spots I'm putting myself in at some of these places. It's just not my usual territory. But we're working on it. I think we've isolated the issue and we're putting some work in now at the range, and we'll see how it pans out. I don't have too much on the menu. I'm going to Narragansett to play down in Rhode Island this weekend. So that'll
Nice.
be like a new course, new area. See if I can look it up real quick while I'm talking here, where we're playing, I forget. But yeah, we're getting there. Game's all right. Hopefully you got a tournament mid-July, I think is my next halfway competitive thing. That me and Mikey will be playing in together, that, trying to make sure I trend towards that. But we'll see. The course I'm playing is Meadowbrook in Rhode Island. I heard it's pretty good.
Great track.
Yeah, so looking forward to playing on Saturday.
Tough track too. Tough track.
Looking forward to playing Saturday, and hopefully the game, we're close. Haven't really had like that really, really solid, overly solid round yet where I've been able to get it under par in a few months. So been around it, but we're hoping to kind of flip the switch here now that we're into June and get a good summer of golf ahead of us. Joe, how about yourself? What's Club Pro life like?
Yeah, what's Club Pro life?
Bro, I am so goddamn busy with work. It's ridiculous. It's good though. I enjoy the challenge this year. Got a lot more responsibilities here, but not playing as much as I'd like. But now, as weird as it sounds, as we're getting more into the season, I actually have some more staff as far as outside services go. So it helps me being able to actually get out after work to play a little bit more in practice. But I need to start playing in actual tournaments, and just playing 18 holes, like even whether it be members or anything like that. Like I just feel like my game has been at the same point for 3-4 years now, and I know I got all the pieces, so it's about time we put it together. So I just think tournament play is something that'll really help me get to that next level, because it's not very often that I play really like under pressure or anything like that. So I was talking to, my buddy who I worked at, down in Florida with, and they just had over, I'll have to text him and get his last name, but it was a player who was on the European Senior Tour. His name's Jean-Francois something. I guess he's like the top 5, like within the top 5 money earners on that tour, something like that. I don't know, but so he came over to play our course, and my buddy Andrew played with him, and he just kind of asked him. He was like, I can go out and shoot even par with the members, but I get in tournament play and I just kind of freeze up. Like what is, like, what do you suggest? Like, is there any way how do you deal with those nerves yourself? And you're just like, you just got to play. He's like, it's playing tournaments, play under pressure, because the more you play under pressure, like those jitters really just start to go away. And, I when I play, it's most of the time by myself after work. Like I very seldomly get to actually play with the members more than I'd like, but got Twilight League starting up this Thursday, so I'm going to be able to play with them coming Thursday nights, get at least 9 holes in. So got to play a little bit today. I was telling you earlier, a little 9-hole track that I found down here. So hit the irons good. I mean, the greens were rolling at about a 2, so made some good par saves, honestly. They shouldn't have went in the hole, but somehow fell in. But it's getting there. Game's getting there. We'll get the PAT done hopefully this summer, and get the PGA next to my name in due time. But it's been a busy summer, trying to make all the podcasts that I can. But it's later nights now because it gets dark late, obviously. But it is what it is, boys. It is what it is. We're all grinding.
Hey, we appreciate it. And to your point about tournament golf, playing under pressure, it just gives you the most direct feedback you can get on your golf game. You find out real quick what you need to get better at, and it helps you it guides your path a little bit more. I think there's no hiding in golf. Like you have to put the ball in the hole. So like if it's a shot you're uncomfortable with, like too bad, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, and especially in your circumstance, right? Like probably 80% of your golf is at the course you're working at, right? So you play the same stuff a lot, and it's like the shots you need to hit, your way
Yeah.
around it and all that stuff. So tournament golf also brings in new courses you probably don't normally play. All that kind of stuff, it all helps you get so much better, and it helps you isolate like, okay, I really got to figure this out, or I may have thought I was doing this well, I got to get better at it, or I thought I was terrible at this, but it's really just I have to do it so many more times at Baker that when I go to a normal or a different course, I'm actually, I'm good there kind of thing. Like all that kind of stuff. Tournament golf is the best way to get better. Obviously outside of just, the obvious practicing, but from your perspective, trying to get that PAT done and stuff like that, competitive golf it helps you get so much better. It just isolates what you're good at, what you're not good at, and gives you like the most direct feedback, and also can give you confidence. If you go out there and play well and you were even expecting, it's like, okay, like, like it's as frustrating as it is, it's the best way to get better.
Like like I need to learn what tournaments I can and can't play in, because like seeing I'm not I'm PGA, yes, but I'm not a PGA member. I'm an associate. So like I don't know what tournaments I can and can't play in. Like I'm looking at the New England PGA schedule right now, and September 27th and 28th, it's the National Car Rental Assistance Championship. So I would think I could play in that, but the only thing is I actually think that might be the same weekend that I was thinking about taking my PAT, but I don't know that for a fact. But yeah, and that's another thing with me. I've been wanting to get that PAT done with before I start playing in tournaments, but I think I just got to say fuck it and start playing something.
I really think it's in tandem though, Joe. Right? Like that PAT will come if you're playing in other tournaments and you're working on your game, and it just becomes another, a part of your schedule, right? Like if we can build out and, something that, hey, we're going to play in a tournament every month, or, play one. Yeah. If we play 2 rounds every month or something, I know that's a lot, but, and you build that PAT into the schedule. Hey, I'm going to play in these 3 tournaments and I'm going to go play my PAT. If you don't play great in those first 3 tournaments, hey, I have now that experience under my belt, and I know how to, go there and go in with the expectation of, oh, I don't have to shoot a great number in this PAT. I just need to play solid. Or, if you're gathering some momentum and you're riding a little bit of a heater, you just show up to the PAT and you fire, right? Like there's, it's really just a piece of that schedule. And I think kind of in the same way of when I'm kind of building out my AM schedule, it would be great to go play in, a state AM qualifier, but like sometimes the dates don't work out, and you have to go and play in a higher level tournament, or you have to go play in, some town open or something like that, a 2-day AM event. Like at the end of the day, competitive golf is competitive golf, and you got to tee it up and you got to put it in the hole. Whether you shoot 72 on a ridiculously hard golf course in top level competition, or you shoot 68 on on an easy golf course at your local muni, who cares? You just went out there and you played really good golf, and you showed up on the tee and you got the ball in the hole and you beat the rest of the field, or you beat a portion of the field. So really, and something Fontaine talks about it, right? Like you got to conquer those nerves a little bit. You got to just go out there and you got to hit shots that you're uncomfortable with. And until you put yourself in those situations, you don't know what you're uncomfortable with.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not uncomfortable with any shot I hit on a Saturday or Sunday morning with my buddies. There's not one shot, like 225 yard par 4 over water. My buddies, I'm going to probably hit it. Hopefully I hit it on the green. If I don't, it's probably around the green somewhere. Hopefully get it up and down. 225 under pressure, when you're not 100% sure about the club, like,
that 3-iron looks really small all of a sudden.
Yeah. So it's you really, it's just the nature of playing. And I think too, like you got to be consistent about it. I think when Matt and I were playing in school, I felt like my game was always great in the summer because I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to turn on the competitive aspect. I didn't have to turn on that switch that said grind, right? That's what I did on a daily basis. And that's kind of how I operated anyways. But now after spending some time away from competitive golf, and I've played a little bit the last few years, and but it's difficult. It's difficult to turn it on. It's difficult when you're not playing a consistent schedule, and that's a real skill. If you can find someone who can practice a couple days a week, play with their buddies, and then go play in like a state open or a state am and fire and make cuts and make match play and do that, like that is a skill. And I want to meet that person. I want to learn from that person because it's not that common.
Yeah.
Grind, man. But we're working at it. We'll get there. And I mean, luckily for me, the place I plan on taking with PAT, it's where I took it my first time, but it's, you know, at my home uni, and I know that course very well now. So, you know, I want to go in knowing I can, you know, shoot even par, but that's the thing. Like, I've never, you know, the best I've shot on a par 72 is what, 75, so 3 over. And then I've shot 71, but it was a par 70. So like, I know the pieces are there, but like, I don't shoot in the 70s consistently enough. And I want to be able to do that going into the PAT. So it's just like, all right, like a good day is obviously kind of, you know, shooting right around par, and a bad day is shooting that 77, 78. Whereas a good day shooting that 77, 78, and that bad day is at 80, 84, you know, and because I got to basically fire 277s, and I know I'm very capable of it, but just, you know, 36 holes in a day back to back. It's, you know, it's a lot. And, you know, like the second time I took it, you know, I shot 77 the first round and fucking choked with an 84 in the second round. So it's just having the confidence in yourself. So I'll get there. I'm not worried about it. I feel good about my swing right now. Overall, I mean, obviously some things to be worked on, and got to get the bunker game figured out a little bit. Got no feel out of there. None whatsoever.
I mean, the biggest thing with tournament golf too is like, no matter how good or bad it goes, you always get something out of tournament golf. Like you always get a takeaway of a nugget, whether it's something like, holy shit, I got to work on this, or like, hey, that I did this a little bit differently. And like, I think that actually kind of that I straightened it out for the last 4 holes. Like pros talk about it all the time. They love making cuts when they're not playing well because it gives them 2 more days to try and figure something out. Because at the range, you know, especially at the pro level, like they're hitting it good on the range. It's not.
And that's my problem right now. I'm hitting great at the range, and I get out there, I'm like, what am I doing there that I'm not doing here? You know,
and when it's under pressure, you're going to be thinking so much more and really grinding. Where you're going to get answers one way or the other. Where you now will get something out of that. Where if you go play 9 by yourself after work, if you get a bad one, you probably just throw another ball down and hit it again. You know, and like you're not. It's just a very different approach to it. But
and I did that the other night.
I think Mikey was going to say, we got a bunker video out there on Instagram. You might have to go do.
No, I mean, I've watched it. Trust me. I mean, like, that's the annoying thing. Like, the annoying thing is, TikTok? I know how to hit a bunker shot. It's one of the easiest fucking shots in golf, but for whatever reason, I'm so mentally fucked up in my head. Like, I just cannot do it. And like, I get like, you know, like I feel like I'm doing it, but I think I'm getting a little quick. But like, when I am finally hitting it out of there good, it's just like, no feel. Like I can't judge the distance whatsoever. I'm just like, all right, let's just get it out of here, you know, and don't leave it in, whatever like that. But I'll figure that out too.
Just go watch that Instagram video.
No, like
don't look at it. Don't look at it. And then just listen to the sound of me slapping the sand. That's
what I'm trying to do.
And just go to bed to that sound. Just you know, put that next to your head and just go to sleep.
I was going to work on the bunker game a bit more today, but like I said, I ended up going to Twin Lakes instead. I just wanted to go somewhere different. You know, it's my day off, so I didn't really want to be at Baker Hill. You know, just kind of get away from there as much as I love it. But so I just went change it up a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, we're going a little long here, but sometimes you just like, and Coach Downs used to say this a lot too. Sometimes you just got to like feel it and trust it and take the mechanics and the swing thoughts and all that shit out of it. Like pick a target, trust it, and go. Like for bunkers, right? I think a lot of times bunker shots are so different where you sometimes do think a lot about mechanics and, you know, ball position, this, that, and there. Sometimes you just got to get in there, you know, wiggle your feet a little bit.
I'm just kind of thinking
or look at the hole, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Like, get in there, wiggle your feet, and go. Like one little thing, you know, like feel it and go. Like don't think about, all right, I got to pick this. I got to, you know, hand here, you know, all that different shit. Because when it comes down to feel, right, like, my interpretation of that is you're nipping them out of the bunker the right way, but you're still 15 feet from the hole because you're hitting them to the wrong spots or
you know,
whatever it may be, where like sometimes you got to take a little bit of the strike out of it, and sometimes just get in there and feel the shot, pick an area and kind of hit it towards it. Like for me, for one, like very different player than a lot of people. I feel like I don't think about my contact at all unless it's a very difficult bunker shot. I more just get in there, see the green, see the pin, pick an area and just try and get it to that area, whether it's a half chunk and run or like I'm nipping it. Like that kind of comes down, like I kind of just let my body do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very weird way to do it, but like sometimes you just gotta like take the mechanics out of a golf swing and feel it, especially in tournaments where you want to just kind of be a little more natural and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. We can do some live lessons, Joe, if you want. We can get live.
That'd be a great episode.
Yeah.
That'd be a great episode.
Might have to do that. Little IG live or something, but
there we go. Well, we'll end on that, boys. I know we had to a little longer than we expected, but appreciate all the tips. So we'll keep everyone posted.
Absolutely.
Yeah, boys, always good chatting with you, and we'll talk soon. Cheers.
Cheers.